I'm Annabelle Busby from Valiantis. We're a leading Atlassian consulting services firm. I'm here with Joe Girton and Jordan Daniel from the Bank of England today, and we're going to be talking about how the bank has been adopting modern ways of working. So, Jordan and Joe, thank you for being with me here today. Let's start with the basics. Tell us a bit about your roles and also what is unique about the Bank of England.
Thanks very much, Annabelle. So my role is that of Head of Testing and Test Enablement for the Bank of England. That's a role I've held for the last 6+ years. So we sit across the entire portfolio of projects that are done by the bank, and we provide testing services to that. In addition to that, I have a few other roles. I am also test lead for the Bank of England's flagship RT renewal program. And I'm also the product owner for Jira.
Hi Annabelle, I'm Joe Girton. I'm the continuous improvement lead at the Bank of England for technology. So my current focus is on DevOps tool chains, particularly at the moment, obviously working on the implementation of Jira and Confluence.
What's so unique about the Bank of England? I think it's worth saying.
Well, the Bank of England is, in terms of the country, a unique organisation. I mean, whilst we work in the sort of banking sector, you know, we don't do the same things as other banks. I mean, we have a specific mission. Our mission is very much about, you know, promoting the good of the people of the United Kingdom. We support and underpin the economy. We make contributions to things like financial decisions, monetary decisions through monetary and financial policy committees. And also we have the Prudential Regulation Authority, which is involved with making sure that banks, building societies, insurance companies also behave in a prudent way in order to avoid things like the 2008 crash. So our mission is quite unique to this country.
Brilliant, thanks. So you started looking into the Atlassian when the bank started to go through its digital transformation. Can you tell us more about that?
Digital transformation, if you read the quality report for last year, there's about 99% of the companies in this country that are going through some form of digital transformation. So from that perspective, the Bank of England is not unique. But we recognise that our ways of working and the way that we need to do things cannot remain static. We also have to change with the time. One of our big, certainly as far as our Chief Information Officer is concerned, one of our big things is that, you know, our money is public money. And we have a duty to spend that money in a very, very careful, cautious and efficient way. And therefore, digital transformation is one way of doing that. So we're looking at the way we do things. Are we going to be able to do things better, quicker, spend that money more efficiently, more effectively, and basically make sure that, you know, the products that we deliver which underpin the economy can get there in a better way. So absolutely, you know, digital transformation is a very, very important part of our current, but also our future way of working.
All right, brilliant. So you were introduced to Atlassian through Jira and Confluence, right? What was the catalyst for exploring and adopting these tools?
So that gets us back to the end of last year when we decided that as we were going to go through this agile transformation, what we needed to do was really review our end-to-end tool set to make sure that we were setting ourselves up in the right way to move forwards. So we obviously went out and did some analysis and due diligence. So what were other government departments using? What were other financial institutions using? And as part of the tool chain review, we decided to go with a best of breed approach. And for the overarching tracking of work and reporting and essentially having that view over everything, Jira and Confluence came out as the best of breed. And so then we started to look at how we would implement those. And that was when we started to look for a partner to work with, which is then obviously, Annabelle, when we met yourselves and Valiantis. Essentially, we just want our data in one place. We want to be able to slice and dice it however we need to. And for anybody to be able to go in there and see what everybody's working on.
I guess quite timely, really, because obviously COVID has had massive impacts on the ways of working in general. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about how the Bank of England is navigating this changing landscape?
You're absolutely right there, Annabelle. It was really well timed as far as the bank is concerned. A lot of changes have occurred within the bank over the last couple of years that have enabled us to survive this difficult period very well. So, we now have state-of-the-art hybrid laptops. We have conferencing facilities. We've been able to very much survive in this difficult time through all of these tools. But a key plank to that has Jira been coming on board, because we now have this single view over things, and it does enable us to collaborate more. I mean, it's not just Jira, it's the Confluence aspect as well. So we're able to use Confluence pages as well to share information and basically make sure that everybody has the information there. So through the workflow aspects and putting everybody into the same space, and through the Confluence aspects, absolutely, our job has been made easier, supporting each other, etc. And it isn't just within technology as well. We have probably 95% of our business that are working remotely now, and we are looking at, how can these tools as well help them?
I remember what it was like at the beginning of the year. It's sort of this Herculean effort to move 4,000 employees working from home, working in the office to home, sort of virtually overnight. I mean, what a different way of working so suddenly. It sounds definitely like you're saying that Atlassian tools have helped support innovation and adaptation during COVID times.
Absolutely, they have, Annabelle. And also, not only that, you have to remember that this is not going to go away tomorrow. We're going to be like this for a little while, and it continues to support us. And as we grow and as we move forward with agile transformation, we're able to do so. I look at our, again, flagship program, the RT Renewal Program. We're going to hold a program increment kickoff workshop week after next, and that will largely be done through the use of Jira and Confluence, and we're able to share information across people that are spread all across the United Kingdom. And we are hoping, it's not going to be without some pain, I'm sure, but we are hoping that we are going to be able to have a very successful program increment planning session.
That's still really impressive, and it's such a different approach. So, I mean, one thing I've noticed is that you've approached implementing Jira and Confluence with the ability to scale right from the outset. So can you tell us something a bit about that? What were the biggest lessons that you've learned about it? What are the surprises, and what are the benefits?
Absolutely. So I think perhaps tying into the previous question, it's worth noting that aside from yourself and your technical SME, we hadn't met any of the team until we'd gone into lockdown. So we really did start this implementation remotely working, and used Jira to plan and track and deliver all of the work. So we were testing it as we went, so to speak. But how did we go about implementing it? So we obviously, as we were finding our partner to work with, we were looking at what our solution design needed to be to implement it. And we drew that up, and I think got to know you around about the time that we were putting that through review. So we asked you guys to take a look and just say, look, are we setting this up in a practical way? Are we using the right kind of infrastructure? But also, are we making sure that as we bring more people on, it really is just a case of kind of spinning up more storage, more servers to expand our capacity? So we did that right from the start. I think in terms of kind of lessons learned and some of the benefits, so we paid a lot of attention as we were doing our due diligence to understand the journeys that other people had been on, to try and hopefully not have to make some of the mistakes that others had. And I think one of the key things that we decided on was that we would go MVP, minimum viable product, and just start with a very vanilla, as we termed it, setup of Jira and Confluence. It then quickly became apparent that we could just focus on Jira to begin with, which was really helpful, because as a team delivering it, we were learning as well. And vanilla meant it was a very basic workflow with the capability to have a backlog, to plan sprints, or to use Kanban, depending on the requirement, but we didn't have any additional plugins or integrations in place. As you know, those are the kind of things that we're working through now. We're prioritising those and delivering them as and when we can, depending on the programmes and development teams' requirements. And we wanted to make sure that we just got those basics right first. I think one of the big lessons that we learned though was we maybe needed to be a little clearer about what vanilla meant, because to what it meant to us and what it meant to others could be quite different, particularly for people who had worked in environments with Jira before, and so they had never seen it maybe in its cleanest MVP form. They'd only ever experienced it with lots of plugins already in place. But I would absolutely say we made the right choice, getting the basics right and keeping it as standard as possible. We have to have a few conversations where people are like, oh, but I want this additional state. And we go through and we work out whether it's a you know, genuinely sometimes it's the right thing to do. But also to make sure that we don't end up with 100 flavours of workflow for what essentially is the same thing for everybody. And then that makes it really much easier for teams to work across projects, to move between projects and deliveries. And hopefully, as we start to build on in small increments, we'll just continue to get more value.
Certainly, again, from my perspective, one of the key takeaways on this has been the speed at which we've been able to do it. Certainly with Valiantis' support, we were able to go from the point where we signed the contract to having a vanilla install of Jira within 6 weeks. Now, I realised that to a lot of organisations, they're going to go, so what? But actually to the Bank of England, that's a big thing because we normally take our time. It takes us a while to get there. We have to think about it, etc. So actually, we've been able to move at speed to get something out there and start people moving on it. And that has really been noticed, particularly at our technology leadership team level. Yeah,
it felt like a real achievement, actually, to do that. And to make it happen. I think as a team, we collectively had a moment to pat ourselves on the back with that one, but also the great experience of working with you guys that helped us to do that.
We agreed. It was evident. It was a great achievement for all of us together. So definitely. And I think sort of going back to the points that you made about the standardization, that it was really apparent to us, and it still is. It's that from the outset, huge determination for standardization, consistent practices, consistent processes, consistent language, so that you've got a really robust base there that you can scale, and that you ensure that you don't have multiple teams doing different things, and so that when you do come to kind of building on top, you just have a beautiful thing to be able to report on, and yeah, that's been noticed to all of us as well.
Yeah, I think as much as possible, we were really conscious that we just didn't want to create a knotted technical debt of mess. And this was a perfect greenfield opportunity, and we had to make the most of it.
Who is using Jira and Confluence now? Like, what can you tell us about the roles of the people, the teams of the people, and who's up next?
Well, our biggest consumer of Jira at the moment is the RT Renewal Program. They were partially responsible for why we had to move at speed, because the program was going into its delivery phase. We had a technical delivery partner coming on board. Their entire way of running the program is based around having a certain amount of base information and being able to report on that information. So we've actually been driven by their need more than anything else. So they are actually our biggest consumers of the Jira product and the Confluence products at this point in time. That having been said, we are now migrating the rest of technology piece by piece onto Jira. We are probably 30 to 50% of the way through people that need to come onto it. So we're, our target is by the end of this year, we will have everybody on it, everybody using it, and nobody working on any item unless it actually has a ticket within Jira which says you should be doing this.
Absolutely. Our target audience to begin with was very much in the technology program space. But I think what's been really great as well is that we've got lots of our analytical areas who have, programming elements to their roles as well, where they're very much knocking on the door going, when can we move into? So we're already starting to onboard some of those guys. But actually as well, they even just teams who are like, we want a space where we can collaborate and just manage our workload between us. There doesn't have to be an IT connection at all. So it's really great to kind of see those pockets starting to emerge across the whole bank, actually.
So all teams have their work, their backlog, their epics, their stories in Jira, so that they can track it throughout its lifespan. And I guess that leads on nicely to, now that you're using Atlassian, what are the most important things that you track and measure in should we call it the product delivery lifecycle? But I suspect it's probably wider than that. And how do you capture those metrics, and how do you share them?
Well, from our perspective, the first and biggest driver here was about being able to track work. What we wanted to find is something which helped us say, we understand what everybody is working on at every single point in time. We can track it, we can measure it, we can report on it, we can look at it, and we can say, are we spending too much time on this? Are we spending too little time on this? How can we improve that? This person here, does that person there need more training because they're spending more time on it than that person there? So all of these things that were enabling us to sort of look at the way we were working and look at our effectiveness and our efficiency and say, how can these things improve? So that was the principal thing that we're looking to start reporting on. Okay. The other side of it is very much around how do we manage our programs? How do we report on progress within the programs? One area where we've not had good enough information is around progress through a program, when we're going to be late on things, when we're not going to be late on things. Are we on track? What are the programs? And what are the things that they are flagging up to say this is an early warning sign? So that's another aspect of it they're looking to improve on. Finally, from our own parochial little perspective, previously reporting on testing progress, testing metrics, quality metrics, it's been very difficult, very manual. We have good metrics, but they take time to get. We're looking to get those much more at a push of a button so that we can say, oh, here we are today.
Once everything is visible, I think then you're able to see all the bottlenecks, aren't you? And so you can sort of, okay, well, we've got everything in front of us. Where are the bottlenecks? And you can rope in colleagues to all come to that problem and say, right, how can we make this faster, better? Or in fact, I guess even, is it valuable? Should we be doing it? But it's there now and you can see it.
Exactly that. Sometimes bottlenecks could be localized to one team, and it's maybe just that team needs a little help. But other times, and especially having it all in one place, we can see if it's systemic across the whole of the area. And then that helps us to prioritize actually what we need to work on next. Which bottlenecks do we try and alleviate first, rather than everybody tending to focus on what's perhaps the priority for them. We can get bigger bang for our buck. We can have value faster for more people this way.
Yeah, I think you've just summed everything up there really nicely, and I'm out of questions. So is there anything else you'd like to add? Is there anything else to sum up this?
From my perspective, the sum up I would take on this is, we see Jira and Confluence as an absolutely pivotal tool to the bank to unlocking the possibilities that digital transformation will give us. It is going to underpin the way that we work. It is going to underpin the way that we report on things. And most importantly, it is going to underpin the way that we look at ourselves and look to continually improve. So we're excited about having the tool on board, and we're looking forward to many years of using it.
I completely second that. And to say as well that we're seeing so much value at what is just the start of our journey of using those tools. Every plugin, every new element that we look at is just delivering more value every day. Brilliant.
Thank you so much, Jo and Jordan, and also thank you for inviting me to join you here today. It is, an absolute pleasure working with you guys, and I'm looking forward to continuing to do so and on your endeavours to transform the ways of working at Bank of England.
Thank you very much, Annabelle. It's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Likewise, thank you.